Welcome to the first English Techtalk video on this channel. I'm going to show you today how I knit one-pass brioche in my Believe in Yourself socks. I will knit this miniature version of a leaf, and I will use a smaller chart than the original to do so. If you want to, you can download the chart from a link in the description box below this video. I will show you all the brioche stitches that are required to finish the leaf. If you don't want to watch the whole video, please refer to the timestamps given in the info box so you can directly head to the sections you're interested in. So this is what I've done so far. I've already worked some ribbing, and I also added the second color, which will be my main color for the leaves, the foreground color. What I'm going to do at first is to show you how we would work a conventional two-pass brioche setup row so you can see the difference. If you look at the chart, the first stitch I am at right now is the one before the brioche section starts. It's a simple knit stitch in white. Now we would switch to the main color, which is the green. I would knit the first stitch. This is a knit. I would not work the second stitch. The second stitch would just be slipped, but with the yarn over. Then we would knit the third stitch and slip the fourth stitch with the yarn over again. And so we continue through the setup row. Now that we're finished with the brioche part here, we now have to slip everything back on the left hand needle to start over again with the contrast color, because actually there would be some more non-brioche stitches on both sides. And yes, so we slip everything back to the left hand needle, and then we would start over again with the white, and that's why we call it a two-pass brioche, because we would work every visible row 2 times. So now that we're at the beginning again, I would take the contrast color, the white, and I would not be working this first stitch, but just slip it again with the yarn over. We would then purl the second stitch together with its yarn over that it got from the previous row, then slip the third one and purl the fourth one together with its previous yarn over again. And so we would continue through this row. Now we knit the rest of the stitches of this needle. That's a simple knit in this case. So this would be how we set up the setup row in a conventional brioche, and that's how we are not going to do it in our project. So now for the setup row for the one-pass brioche, which is much faster. The important thing is that you hold your main color to the right. So if you do it both-handed, you will have to have it on the right hand. I'm knitting with both strands over one finger only. That's my way of doing this. So just make sure that the main color is on the right side. And what we're going to do now is to make a yarn over with the contrast color, and then knit this first stitch with the main color, and we will take this strand of yarn from underneath the white one. So first stitch done, then the next stitch, and is a purl. It was misaligned because I just pulled the yarn out, and this has to be done in the white color. So we bring both strands to the front and we purl just with the white. So now the green has not been worked, it's lying in front of the stitch. And what we're doing now is a yarn over with both strands. So this will add the yarn over to the white stitch, and the white is the yarn over for the next stitch that will be knitted, and that's just a simple knit. As before, we take the yarn from under the white, then take both strands to the front and purl just with the white strand. not that easy because I'm working around the camera. Do yarn over with both strands. Go through the loop, go underneath the white strand and take the green one. And then sometimes they intertwine a little bit. So, okay, bring them to the front, work the purl. Work the purl. Do the yarn over, do a knit stitch, do a purl stitch, and so on until the end of the row. And now that we're at the end of the row, we just continue knitting, just as normal. This is just a simple knit stitch. And then we continue with the color work. So now that we've completed the setup row, I'm going to show you how to knit one of the easy rows. That's all even rows in this chart. And it's very much like the setup row. So we have this one single white stitch on the right, and this one is the first brioche stitch, and as we can see we have the stitch and we have the yarn over that goes with it. What we're doing is the same as in the setup row. We're doing a yarn over with the contrast color, and then we're knitting the stitch with the yarn over as before. So we go through the stitch underneath the white one, making sure that we do not lose the yarn over that's here on the needle, and pulling through the green yarn. And now the yarn over that we did before falls in place with the stitch and will form the new brioche stitch for the next row. So there we have a purl stitch, and it is white with a green yarn over. We do the same as before. We bring both strands to the front. We go through the stitch and its yarn over, and we purl it with the white yarn only. Come on. And now we do the yarn over with both strands again and continue to work like that. We knit one stitch, bring to the front, and purl one stitch, knit one stitch and bring to the front, and purl one stitch, knit one stitch and purl one stitch. And this is not a brioche stitch but a simple stitch, so we just knit it, and that's the second row. Okay, so on to the first advanced stitch, let's call it like that. I already purled this stitch here in brioche. It's a brioche purl, so I need to add the yarn overs to that. And what we're going to do now is basically a K2 tuck, so I knit two together, but with brioche. And with brioche we already have two colors that will be two stitches that will be seen in the front. So this one and this one, and then there's the one in the middle that's only showing on the back, but it will have to be worked into this knit two together. So it's basically a knit three together in brioche. What we're doing is we will have to hold on to this yarn over here, we are slipping the first stitch and we are knitting this second one. That's the one that's normally to be purled. So you knit it as usual with the green strand from underneath the white one. Then we slip this first one over this one and put it on the left hand needle and slip this one over as well. So we now have a right leaning decrease, as you can see. The yarn over is already in place, so we can just continue to knit as usual with the next brioche purl stitch here. Now we will work the first increase, and that's the middle increase, and we will be increasing from 1 stitch to 5 in all. So we will have 3 green stitches and 2 whites in between. So what we're going to do after the purl here is to do the same as usual. We are going to do yarn over with both strands and now work the middle stitch as we would, and then go back again, do a loop and knit it again from underneath. If you want to, you can put away the white strand for this one, get another loop and knit it again. So now you have 5 stitches on your right hand needle, but they still lack their yarn overs, and that means we will be putting back 4 of those. The first one already has its yarn over, so this one has already the yarn over here, and we will have to purl this one with the white strand. Then give the third one a yarn over because it's one of the front stitches, purl the fourth one, and give this one his yarn over as well. And that's how things work. So then do the normal yarn over, purl. So this is the row above the increase that we've just worked, and this is the only time when there will be stitches on the needle without the yarn over. So I work the first few stitches as usual and do the yarn over now because we're going to knit this first one, that's the first stitch, and now we have a single purl here without a yarn over from this increase, but we're just knitting it as usual. So bring both strands to the front, go through the loop and take the white strand only, and do a yarn over with both strands. So in the next row everything will be normal again. The middle stitch has a yarn over, a white one. Then there's a single purl here without a yarn over again, and then another one. So that's how the increase looks after one row. It's a bit loop-sided now because I'm still working on this. The decreases already have the yarn over, so nothing to note there. And now we will be working basically as SSK, a slip, slip, knit, so a left leaning decrease, but in brioche. So what we're doing is the same as usual. We're doing the yarn over and holding to it so it will not slip away. We're slipping this one as if to knit with the yarn over. We're slipping the second one as if to knit with its yarn over, and then we're knitting the third one as usual with the strand from underneath the white one, and then we're getting this first stitch with the yarn over and pulling it over it, and the second as well. And so we do have a left leaning decrease here, and then we just, so if we did everything right, we will have the yarn over here in place already, and then we just continue to knit to brioche purl and to brioche knit, and then do the single knit at the end of this chart. So this is the row above the increase that we've just worked, and this is the only time when there will be stitches on the needle without the yarn over. So I work the first few stitches as usual and do the yarn over now because we're going to knit knit this first one, that's the first stitch. And now we have a single purl here without a yarn over from this increase, but we're just knitting it as usual. So bring both strands to the front, go through the loop and take the white strand only, and do a yarn over with both strands. So in the next row everything will be normal again. The middle stitch has a yarn over, a white one. Then there's a single purl here without a yarn over again. And then another one. So that's how the increase looks after one row. It's a bit loop-sided now because I'm still working on this. The decreases already have the yarn over, so nothing to note there. I have completed now 2 more rows, so that's how it looks. The stitches are the same as before, so no need to show them. We have 2 times this big increase here in the middle, and we have 2 right leaning decreases and 2 left leaning decreases. What we're doing now is the little sister or brother, I don't know, of the big increase in the middle. So we will have to make sure to have a yarn over, and we're making now 3 stitches out of this one. So as before, we will be working it as a single knit, then making sure to take the yarn without tangling the white one, do a loop, a yarn over, and knit it again. And now you have 3 needle stitches on the right needle, but only 1 yarn over here. So move these 2 stitches back to the left side, work the middle stitch as a purl, and it will not have a yarn over on the next row as well. And then give the third one just a yarn over, and then continue to knit as before. So this is the last stitch I will show you, and we will be decreasing again, and this time we will be decreasing from 5 stitches to 1 only. So if we were knitting only, it would be a central double decrease. In this case we will decreasing this stitch here and this one on this side, and this will be the leading one in the middle, and of course the 2 in between will have to go as well. So we are basically undoing one of these major increases here in the middle. So for this we will need a small removable marker, and we will start as usual. We will do the yarn over and hold on to it. Then we slip this first stitch knitwise, and we slip the second stitch knitwise, and then we take this marker, insert it into the middle stitch and its yarn over, close it, or at least I close it, and get it from the needle in front, and then we will knit this next stitch as usual with the strand of yarn from beneath the white color. Make sure you have the yarn over here, and now this is going to be worked a little bit like a braid. So what we're going to do is to move this stitch here, this one, with the yarn over the newly created stitch, then move it back to the left hand side, do the same with this edge stitch here, move it back to the right side, give it a little tug so it does not get too large, and then slip this edge stitch as well over it. So now we've already decreased these 2 edge stitches, and the one that's still missing is the one dangling here in front. So we move that back on the needle with the yarn over, and I leave the marker just in. Then move this stitch on the left hand needle and get these 2, so the stitch and its yarn over, and slip it over this one. So that's what it will look like. I'm going to remove the marker now, so we can admire our work. So we already have the yarn over, I hope. So the yarn over is still there. We can move it back to the right hand side and then continue knitting. Now that's the completed chart. I think the leaf shows great. We do have the center double decrease, centered increases. We do have a centered double decrease here. We have right leaning decreases on this side and here again. We have left leaning decreases on this side and also here. And we have increases from 1 to 3 stitches here and here. So if at one time we want to stop doing brioche, and let's say we're continuing between, we are just knitting these stitches as a single stitch without any yarn overs, but we are knitting these yarn overs as if they were one stitch. So knit one, you can also purl these. So if you want to, you can just purl these together. Knit one, knit one, knit one. So do whatever the pattern says, but take the stitch and the yarn over as a single stitch and just knit or purl them together. So that's it for my tutorial. I hope you had a lot of fun and enjoyed it. Have fun knitting the belief socks, and we'll see. And I'm looking forward to all these results. So that's finished.